people just like have this expectation of like, oh, like you just naturally know how to take care of children, and I don't. I have basically no experience with kids. I found out probably shortly after we had the conversation of when we're gonna decide to try that like babies don't drink water. I didn't know that. So like literally starting from ground zero.
And so it, for me, was kind of, at first, it's like, hey, let's just, relax. It's gonna be okay. And I was realizing for my wife, that's really not how that works. But what really works for her is having plans and getting information and learning. She's an amazing scientist. She's brilliant. She's so good at taking things apart systematically and understanding them. And so where I noticed a huge boom in her confidence was when she started listening to the podcast, when she started doing her own research. Yeah, it's the truth. It's the truth. She's like, wow, they combine evidence with babies and I can listen to them while I'm doing other things. This is perfect. John, you should listen to them too. And at the time, I was like, I don't really need to listen to them.
I already know what I'm doing.
Right. I was like, I'm fine. But I was like, you know what? I'm not, baking a human being. So the least I could do, I guess, is listen along and like attend the classes, because also I could learn something, and I feel like I have. So for me, I think a lot of this part of the uncertainty sandwich, the ladder bread, was really about trying to find a way to help Kellie feel comfortable in her preparation style that made sense for her, while also trying to contain my incredible excitement about being a dad and not blab to everybody about what the name and sex of the baby is before Kellie said I did.
What I love about that is that you see in so many people, in so many couples, when we want to support the other person, we try and support them in the way that we want to be supported. And what you see so clearly is that doesn't work for her. that you can try and say, oh, just relax, everything's going to be fine. I can see it. I know everything's going to be fine. And that doesn't land for her. And you're able to support her in learning in a way that makes sense for her, because that when she learns that she will be comfortable, she will get to the same place that you're going by a different route, and you're able to support her through that. I love that so much. And so that was enter parenting podcast into the scene from stage left. How did you find it? What made you start listening to a parenting podcast and not a pregnancy podcast?
Well, okay, so I did start with a pregnancy podcast. Okay. Finished that, went to a labor and delivery podcast, finished that, and then moved on to...
What's next? Toddler years. Bring it on.
You're joking, but...
So, yes. Yeah. I started with pregnancy and then worked my way through.
College funds, college preparation, high school.
Yeah.
But I honestly, I think I just Googled top parenting podcasts, and Your Parenting Mojo popped up. I think I may have heard mention of it on one of the other podcasts that I had been listening to at some point. And I honestly don't remember.
Yeah, I've interviewed on the pregnancy podcast as well, so it's definitely possible if that was one of them. Okay, so you heard about this podcast, and then you heard that Hannah and Kelty and I were working together to launch the Right from the Start course, and was in its second iteration when you joined. So what made you say, yes, this is what I need, compared to all of the other resources that were out there?
I think part of it was, I don't know if this is cheesy, but a feeling of trust in you, Jen, and in your thoroughness of looking at the whole picture, and not just taking sound bites or a single study and being like, oh, now this applies to all children everywhere, because it doesn't. So I think I felt comfortable and confident to know that like information that I would get from this course would be thoughtfully presented and, you know, holistic in its approach. Because, you know, I've seen you scroll through any form of social media, Pinterest, Instagram, everything, and it's like, do these 5 things and your baby will never cry again. It's like, okay. But then this says, you know, do completely the opposite. And then there's this other resource that says it has the secret, and then this one has the secret. And so that was fairly overwhelming. And I felt like I was, I didn't really know how best to sort it all out. And I felt like what I had heard on Your Parenting Mojo for toddler years really resonated with my values, our values, and kind of how we wanted to parent. And so the question that was remaining for me was, how do you start that? I understand if it's like a person who can kind of interact with you, but like when it's this infant, like I really don't know how to like merge that gap. There were so many other like-minded parents who were there who were like, we want this evidence-based approach, but we also want to recognize that, like, you know, there are multiple people in this relationship, which I think was one of the big takeaways of the class, is that it's not all about like taking care of the baby, but it's also about taking care of yourselves. And other people who were like, yeah, we want to do that. I think that was really great to get to interact and see that, like, you know, at least for me, that like I'm not alone in wanting to also meet my needs when it comes to parenting, and that is actually a good thing and a healthy thing, and like promotes a strong relationship with your child. So I really enjoyed that. When I started going to the classes, it was the first time when I actually felt excited to parent, as opposed to just feeling like nervous and anxious. Because everyone would always ask me, "Oh, are you so excited?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I'm so excited. I have no idea what I'm doing." Like I'm happy. I was as happy as the plan. Like this is what we wanted. I just like excitement. I hadn't gotten there yet. And so as I started attending these courses, I like started feeling like, oh, I can do this. Yeah, I think like this is a new challenge for sure, but like I'm excited to try to meet this challenge now. So that's how it felt.
And then what was it like to see that unfold? John?
Oh, see that unfold in her?
Yeah.
Oh, it was amazing. It was amazing. It was like I was watching her become this iteration of herself that like, I'm like, I know you're in there. Like Kelly, who is confident, and not, which is not to say that, you know, my wife always has to be confident, or I expect her to never have a, you know, a wavering moment or moment of weakness, anything like that. But I'm like, you know, I'm talking to like my mom and my sisters and stuff like this. I'm like, Kelly's worried she's not gonna be a good parent. And they're like, what are you talking about? Kelly's gonna be the best mom ever. Like, we're all so sure, but that doesn't really help unless it's coming from in here too, right? And so watching that, it's just like, yes. It's like when you've gone through this whole movie and, you know, maybe like you're watching Star Wars and the Empire is kicking the rebels' butts, but you know that they're gonna rally in like the 11th hour. That's what it was like for me. I'm a big Star Wars nerd. And so I was like, yes, Kelly, embrace the Force. You got this. You can do this, baby. And, you know, just having her in a place where she could feel comfortable saying, you know, I am nervous. I'm excited. I'm maybe at the place where anxiety and excitement meet up for a little dance or a little drink or two or something like that. But I am worried, or, hey, I'm not doing great today, but, you know, thanks for asking. Not feeling like she has to put on a fake smile or, you know, be plastic and inauthentic in front of folks, where she can feel how she feels. A place where she could complain, a place where she could, like, you know, tell me the things that she needs and that she's worried about without feeling like this means that she's inherently a bad mom or underqualified or something like that. And so just watching her come into herself was really amazing, and still seeing her do it, because she's still really amazing, but it made me feel awesome that we got a chance to do this together too.